Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're gonna talk about how to prepare for the NMAT, or the National Medical Admission Test. And specifically, I'm gonna talk about what is the NMAT and why it is important if you wanna increase your chances of getting into your choice of med school, what are the most important resources you should have to more effectively prepare for it, and finally, how to set up a study schedule that works for you. Now, obviously, there are a lot of other videos out there about the NMAT, but this is the video I wish I had when I was just getting started on my journey to preparing for the NMAT. So let's go for it. Part 1. What is the NMAT? Now the NMAT, or the National Medical Admission Test, is a standardized test that is used to screen qualified candidates applying for med schools in the Philippines. It is given twice a year, and the first exam is usually on September or October, and the second one is on March or April. And these candidates can either be graduates or graduating students of any bachelor's degree program at the time of testing. So yes, you can take the NMAT even when you have not yet graduated from your pre-med course. And it has two parts. Now part 1 consists of 120 questions that tests your mental ability and includes 4 subtests, which are verbal reasoning, quantitative, inductive reasoning, and perceptual acuity, which you can take for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Now part 2 also consists of 120 questions that test your academic proficiency in the subtests of biology, physics, social sciences, and chemistry, and should be completed in an hour and a half. And the score you're gonna get will be reported in terms of percentile rank, ranging from 1 to 99 plus, which is different from the way other exam results are reported, which use the absolute number or percentage of correct answers. So for example, if you receive an NMAT score or percentile rank of 85, it doesn't mean that you answered 85% of the questions correctly. It means you scored higher than 85% of students who also took the exam, while the other 15% of students scored higher than you. And this NMAT score is one of the most important factors that will decide whether you'll get accepted into your choice of med school, besides your general weighted average and the interview process of that med school. And the cutoff score for each med school is widely different. For example, if you want to get into UP College of Medicine, the cutoff is a score of 90, while for the West Visayas State University, it's 60. So this means there's no pass or fail score in the NMAT. It all depends on what the cutoff is for the med school that you want to get into. So if your NMAT score is lower than the number indicated for that med school, most likely you will not be allowed to apply to that school. To register for the exam, I will put a link in the description box below. And since the NMAT is being conducted online, there are specific requirements and important reminders you should take note of, such as the test not being compatible when using Mac, and that you should have a working webcam, a microphone, a mouse, and of course a stable internet connection. And another thing to remember is the use of scratch materials will only be allowed in selected subtests, such as the one shown on screen. If you want more information about the other specific requirements for the NMAT, I'll put a link to the latest version of this document in the description below. Now let's head on to the recommended resources. Now there are a lot of online resources out there, and honestly it could be pretty overwhelming. So here are some of the resources that will help you out to prepare for the NMAT. Now the first one is the mock test. The CEM, the one that administers the NMAT, will provide you with after you register for the test. This will give you a general idea of what topics, concepts, and facts will most likely come out in the actual exam. Now the second resource is the MSA NMAT Reviewer. Now this is hands down one of the best review books you can use because it contains detailed explanations for each of the questions. Now you might get surprised, however, because the questions may seem more difficult than the CEM mock test, but remember that this is what will help you get more comfortable when you get to the actual exam. Now the third one is joining Facebook or Discord groups like this one right here, so you can get more accountability and support from other fellow students who are also preparing for the NMAT, and you can also share resources with them. There's also an updated NMAT megathread on Reddit, so go ahead and check that out. Now, the fourth one is this NMAT study guide created by a med student named Czarina. Now, this can help you with knowing what topics to focus on for each of the academic proficiency subjects to save you time from reading topics that would less likely come out in the exam. The next one is this useful website called Filipiknow.net, which has a comprehensive compilation of almost everything you have to know about the NMAT, together with free practice tests and other resources for each of the subtests. And finally, of course, is YouTube. Because if you're like me, who had the not so good background with the Part 2 subject, there are a lot of great YouTube lectures out there you can access for free, like Khan Academy or Organic Chemistry Tutor. Now this leads us to the question, with all of these free resources for the NMAT, do you really have to enroll at a paid review center? Probably not. I personally did not go into a review center because it's way too expensive and all the materials I needed for preparation are already free online or can be bought at a local bookstore. Now once you get your hands on the different resources, now it's time to create a study schedule for the NMAT. And one of the ways you can start doing it is to first do a simulated and timed exam using the mock tests from CEM. After this, identify which subjects you are weakest at and start studying those first. So if you're weakest at quantitative reasoning, for example, you can put that on the first few days of your study schedule. Now the next question is, how many hours per day should you spend studying? There's no hard and fast rule here, but most students who prepare for the NMAT, who end up getting a decent score like 90 and above, studied 8 to 10 hours per day for 1 to 2 months. Now for me personally, because I was one of the worst students when I was in high school, which means my knowledge foundation of the academic proficiency subtests were relatively poor, I did 10 hours of studying per day for 2 months. And when you're studying, it's better to mix up reading with doing practice tests because it's difficult to do reading for 4 hours straight. So what you can do is, if you're studying in 4-hour blocks, you can spend the first 2 hours reading and then the next 2 hours answering practice questions. And answering mock tests or practice questions has the added benefit of helping you know what specific topics to focus on for each of the subtests instead of spending equal amount of time studying everything in the study materials. And when you're preparing for the NMAT, it's useful to lay out your study plan so you can avoid procrastination and cramming at the last few days before the exam. So if you would like to know more about a law to help you avoid procrastination, you can check out this video over here. Now thank you so much for watching and see you later. Bye.